Always sister. Always friend. Always sister. Always sister. Always friend. You're my friend. I'm your friend. You know I wanna be
back. This is our part 2. Conversation continues. I know it was rain outside.
Hope you didn't go too far.
Mellow. We're so mellow. But we wanted to definitely continue our conversation on a topic that we need to discuss. It's very important in our community. Things that are going on, and we have our good sister here, Jennifer Jones Bryant, who is out there in the community doing her thing, a motivational speaker and an author, and she's making it happen. We're proud to have you here. Happy that you could stop by. We were speaking on our part 1 about the things that's happening that's connected to domestic violence. And Charlene mentioned about how we were all attending Reverend Jamila Woods, her mental, what was her, Faith and Mental Health Conference.
Yeah.
Faith and Mental Health Conference yesterday. And Charlene was speaking on that, how important it is and what's going on relative to that. Charlene, do you want to continue on?
Oh, most definitely. I truly believe there is a correlation between the abuse that the man causes, you know, and mental illness. Again, I don't believe that some man brutally beats his wife, and I'll give you an example. Beats his wife and then goes back to, you know, working, you know. And a good example would be, I know you all know Dr. George C. Frazier. 2 weeks ago, his niece was brutally murdered at the hands of her husband. She had him arrested about 2 years ago, about 2014 is when he attacked her in a car with her children in the background and in the back seat of the car. And I studied this story really closely because I was like, okay, this guy was a judge in Cincinnati, Ohio, highly respected. I mean, he was smart as Steve, you know, or Bill Gates or whoever. And I was just studying him. I'm like, wow, look at all these accolades. But what he did in 2014, he was in the car, he got upset with her, and he took her head and he hit it against the dashboard about 4 or 5 times. Then he started punching her 20 times, counted 20 times. The only reason he ended up going to jail, prison, okay, because the children were the witnesses in the back, okay?
Wow.
And so the mother, she did press charges, but when they went in to go research and find out what happened and look into the home, he had guns, like he was a terrorist. He had things, bombs, like grenade bombs. Guys, I did a deep dive into this. I was very concerned about this brother, and they ignored it. They just put him away. He got out of prison. Instead of serving 4 years, he served 2 years on good behavior.
Wow. And connections.
And a judge at that.
And connections. When he got out, he totally continued to torment her. He talked about not being able to see his children. So, of course, this nice young lady, you know, blessings to her, was, you know, you can see your children no matter what, right? And so he would constantly use that against her. Now, check this out. The mayor of that town of Cincinnati actually hired him. Now, I don't have a problem with you hiring a convicted felon. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have that problem because it wasn't dealing with women or whatever. The problem was this, is that you knew of his issues of him constantly harassing his wife. He was constantly doing this even after he got out of prison. The community had told you and other people, but the people in his office, honey, these women, I went on the Facebook and I was looking at how they were communicating with him even after they knew that he was still, you know, causing threats against her, light threats. You know the light threats that we don't pay attention, but he's just a good-looking black man. He's so good, and he's giving money back to the black community and their businesses because he got hired at the mayor's office to be over a minority business group. So yes, he's you know we go to these events all the time, and that's that man. So anyway, Within 2 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, within 4 years, this woman to this day is dead. He pulls her out of her house, stabs her to death in her driveway, stabs her. She is now eternally home with our Father. But that just told you that it doesn't matter.
That's right.
When they want you and they can't have what they want, and especially if they're that intelligent, it's so many. It was in his mind.
Yeah.
And if you look at him, and I hate to judge people on looks, but if you just study the whole pattern, a month before that, he put up a website and he was going to do this big campaign about almost like leading within type thing, like I know I made these mistakes and I've done this and I'm trying to be a better person. Read his website. It is the scariest thing. Then look on the website and track this, where he had missing children. He would every week put up something about missing children. That told me that he was possibly looking to kidnap his own children. Guys, I looked at everything. But anyway, so I'm talking about that
CSI.
to say, yes, I am, honey.
Okay.
I know crazy people. I was, okay, shut up. Don't.
Whoa.
I'm divorced and was stalked, so I take it very seriously. So, yeah, but yeah, so these are the kind of things we're talking about, that mental, and then us as society excusing their behavior because they're the judge, honey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Girl,
exactly.
he is the, wait a minute, he is the vice chair of Prince George's County. He would never do that to her. She's just such a liar. Like, she just wants attention. Like, those kind of things got to stop.
Yeah.
They got to stop. If she tells you that happened, that is what happened to her.
They
even
just
she,
ignore what
That's the
women
thing.
say.
That's the thing. It's just ignoring.
It's
And this thing,
ignoring.
you
It's
talk about
not
the
giving
red
us
flags.
respect.
But
No
but when you think you cannot go to
Ooh.
the courthouse to judge, to
Your community?
to the community of people, who can you
Who
go
you
to?
go
You
to?
can't go to the church house.
Exactly.
You can't get any help in that regard. What do you do?
Yeah,
Right.
you do.
So you got to come up with the escape plan.
That's
That's
there.
it.
You go.
Right.
You got to come up with a strategy on how do I get out of there.
how do they get out of there, girl? That didn't seem like she wanted to stay at her school. She had a right to be a teacher
Yeah.
at school, but how do you get out of there when your whole family lives in that area? And he set up these parameters so that she can't leave with his children.
But you know what?
do you do
The
that?
thing about this is that I had the pleasure of meeting this woman about 6 years ago in Cleveland. She was the head of the Granville Academy, because we have a chapter in Baltimore, and Gloria Jennings is
Yeah. Granville.
right. And about 6 years ago, Lakey and I flew to Cleveland to support Gloria Jennings in the Granville Academy, and I had a chance to meet her. And you talk about someone that was so sweet and gentle.
She's very
I can't even imagine somebody would want to do something to this woman.
That's why you know you were sick.
Right.
He plotted this.
That's how you
He-
know.
he had
Plotted,
to.
That's how you know.
So I want to talk about a little bit. I want to go back to the thread of the safety planning piece for those who may be in a domestic violence situation. Is you got to come up with a plan, and first off, is coming up with a list of people who you believe are safe people, your trusted agents. So come up with your list. Try to memorize as many important numbers as possible. Establish a code word with your friends or family. Also, keep that 1-800 domestic violence hotline number available. Get out when he's not home and escape.
Okay, so let's.
Yeah, but
go
how do you
back-
handle that
good,
when
okay.
you have done all that, okay, and you know he goes his way and she
Right,
goes her
right,
way,
right.
Correct.
okay, and you think things are at a point
Right.
that is calm and you can live your life and he can
Quiet
do
before the
his,
storm.
and then all of a sudden this thing comes
Right.
surface again.
So were they still married? Do you
No,
know?
she was in
they
the
was
process of divorcing him.
divorced.
So
The
the divorce,
process. Okay.
the process had not, from my understanding, had not been completed yet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I need to
So-
re-verify that.
I can't say this for every case because it all depends on
Yeah,
what
the
is going on
situation.
and how extreme the situation is. And it sounded like that one was.
It's extreme.
It
They
was
lived in separate
extreme.
houses though. He didn't live. She didn't live.
I understand that, and it might have been best for her to go under, and
That's what I said.
and
I
to
like that.
go to a safe haven home and escape totally.
Yes. Yes.
So get a brand new identity. I mean, that's
Wow.
unfortunate.
Yeah. I feel
And
you.
what about
But
the
the
children?
For the
right.
children.
But
With
children
the
have to go
children.
along with it too.
With
Yeah,
the
the children
children.
have to do it too. They
The
have
children
to be a
have to
part
do
of
it.
all of
She
that.
That's
had
part of that
protection, and I'm
escape.
glad you said that. I mean, I've been there. And you're correct. She should have, not should, Lord forgive me. That would have been the ideal situation to go under. But you got such a prominent family. You thinking nobody's going to mess with me.
Right.
My family will hurt him. Do you know who
Right.
my uncle is? You know, that's the kind of thought I would have. Like, but that psycho guy, you know his pattern.
But see, the other
Yeah.
thing to this, he was brilliant
He was brilliant.
in
That's
knowing
good.
what was going on in that whole scheme of things anyway.
He had connections.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when he plotted and planned and being a judge, you already know the nooks and crannies
You know the
of
law.
the law,
Didn't know the law.
of the things that's going on in the community,
Get over with.
what you can do, what you can't do, when is the
good,
timing of
Mommy.
making that happen. And this is how our women get caught up because we're caught off guard.
Correct.
Yeah. We let our guards down.
We get comfortable.
We get comfortable.
That's it. Wow.
Exactly.
That's
Get-
it.
really
Exactly.
get comfortable while they are plotting and scheming the whole time,
Jesus,
and
that's
there
good.
no one is watching that. They know it. That's a call of the way of escaping. When is my time to really get in there? Here is this snake.
Right.
That's
That's
good.
what it
Wow,
is.
man. That's good.
This is a snake who's getting his way in and wants you to bite the apple. Here we go with the
Yep.
Eve thing, because here we are women. We just want to be, we're mothers. We're the birth of who we are. And we are nurturing our children at the same time.
And we're trusting.
And we're
trusting.
And she was still
Bottom line.
trusting with
That's
him
it.
even after that. That's
Trusting.
how we are.
Yeah.
We're like, I don't want no beef with it. I don't want to be married
But
to
see,
you.
who
but
was
I
going
want
to
be.
believe? Now, what happened? Okay, he got locked up. Okay, allegedly,
Got out on good
things
behavior.
happen. Yes, good behavior. See, knowing the system,
Correct.
Yep.
knowing the system, and then those who he, of course, allegedly was talking to turned deaf ear.
Deaf
Yes.
ear. That's good.
And you don't know who's being paid.
Right.
And what's
Right.
going
What's
on?
going on?
It is so
What was
unfortunate.
going?
Yeah.
And here we go back to
Yeah.
this mental though. What is your mind so fixated on
destroying a
destroying
human being?
woman
So that's a
who
sickness.
has your children?
That's the sickness.
True,
That's the
baby
sickness,
mom.
That's
but
the
sickness.
it is a sickness, but we
Okay.
also, what we talked about at the last break, every person has a story.
Yeah.
And I'm not making an excuse for him by no means
Oh,
by
yeah.
me saying this. But you don't know what he witnessed coming up.
That's true.
Right?
Of course,
And what
definitely.
he may have been
Starts there.
subjected
His
to.
domestic
Yeah.
situation.
Right.
Yes.
And so
Chain reaction.
part of the domestic violence awareness piece is not only dealing with the victims, the survivors, but it's also dealing with the abusers.
That's
Yes.
good. That's
The
good.
system needs to spend more time
With the abuse.
dealing with the abuser.
The why.
The
The-
why.
and the why. I was just
The
in my
why.
mind thinking
Why.
that is while we were
Yeah.
sitting here. I was
The
just,
why.
how do you get to them so that you can get
That's a
and dig
good
into
question.
that?
When and have you seen that working with domestic violence? I don't know, young ladies, our ladies out here, Muhammad. Have you guys seen that where a man actually yielded and said, "I need help. I don't want to do this." Have y'all seen men like? I have not met
I
one.
haven't.
I met one, I will say, but he was on TBN or the Total Christian Television. But I ain't seen many.
No, I've never.
Well,
He
most,
said-
well, most of them are bullies.
Yeah.
I'm-
Oh, that's so good.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's just like, they're not going to say I need help because that belittle
So that's
they don't really
them
different
feel
spot
less
of
than.
saying
that
so
mind
they
is
want
not
to be
saying
empowered.
that
It's
I
an
need help.
empowerment thing.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
having that something over you kind of you have to be afraid of me so that you will do as I say.
Control.
The
Control.
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 It's exactly control.
Yes, control.
So they're
So there's a
To
group,
admit.
and there's a group that actually deal with men. The name escapes me now, but I brought them in on my federal job, and they have guys who come in secretly or whatever, and they actually deal with the guys and their abuse because men have come and say, "I need to deal with this." So it's out there. It's just that the information just needs to be shared more
It
openly.
needs to be definitely dealt with because, again, judge, we have
The attorneys.
pastors,
Yeah.
Pastors.
And
Oh,
these are
yeah.
men, and these are
Bishops,
men of power.
Yeah.
There
And
you
that
go.
power runs
Policemen.
over and it gets to their heads. So, if they're already sick and you have power,
Yeah.
then
That's
That's
even
a bullet.
more. That,
Yes.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a bullet.
Yes.
Okay.
But our women,
It can happen.
some of them, they
Right.
stay because they know how to manipulate.
Oh yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
going to do this again,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I'm going,
I
I'm
just
going
I
to
just
try.
want what's best for you
But
and
that
was the
other,
last
my son.
time.
but that other boy said, Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Your
But all
voice
the time you're sleeping with the
other
enemy.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your voice is telling you something in your head says you need to watch him,
yeah.
you need to get out, you need to
Yeah.
go underground. It tells you they're not safe. And it's bad when they have their parents that's conspiring with them. That's the other bad.
Wow.
Well, that's the
Because they
bottom line, because
manipulated
it
them.
starts there. You know, it
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
from how they were brought up and what
Right.
Yeah.
they
The
saw.
story.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so
That's
it's
true.
generations. You know, so
Yeah.
it just piles on top of each other until you break that chain.
That's right.
So you have to be aware of their background, their family, how they treat their mom, their dad, or how what kind of household was he or she brought up
And
in.
you have to look at
and
that in
you
a
know, you
Look at
really
it
have
deep,
to-
deep.
absolutely.
You have to
That's
look at
what I
that
tell
when in
people that all the
dating. You have
time.
those
Yeah.
are the things you
Yes.
pay
Everything.
attention to.
Everything.
Their
It's all relevant.
father, their mother, their
Yeah.
aunts and uncles. How do they treat them?
That's
How do
right.
they relate?
How do
to
they
that?
relate to
How do
them?
they
You know,
relate to
because
them?
it's going to happen again. That's what they
Or
say.
to
It's
see
what
how
they
they
do.
handle stressful situations.
Oh my God,
Stress.
that's a good
How
one.
do they
Especially stress.
respond?
Yes.
How do they
Yes.
communicate? Because
Right.
we've spent a considerable amount of time talking about the physical abuse, but there's
That's that
the
mental.
emotional
mental
abuse.
can be
Oh,
There's
that's
one
emotional
area.
abuse.
Yes.
That's a whole
yes.
nother
Sexual
level.
abuse.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Mental.
They're behind the doors stuff.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And when we
Yes.
talk about the financial abuse, because there's that conversation that happens and it brings on we had our last guest on last month talk about the domestic
And the
Oh,
And
the preacher's
violence.
wives.
and the violence. That's a separate thing.
Separate
The
thing.
domestic
Right.
comes
comes first.
before the violence.
And then
Right.
the
So
violence.
domestic abuse, domestic and finances,
Yes.
domestic and the physical, domestic and the mental,
Yeah.
Family.
the family.
The family.
All
Yeah.
of these domestic
That's good.
things happen,
Before.
and then it tags on all of the additional things that come with that. So no one would think, why are we fussing about finances? That's domestic.
Right.
Verbal abuse too.
Verbal
Verbal.
abuse.
Right.
and
Why are
talking
you
about-
calling me this name?
Right.
That's
Why you
right.
calling me
Yeah.
this?
And you start
Yeah.
emotionally get messed up. You can believe he taunted her mentally himself.
He did.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before
He had
that
to.
happened,
He
he
had to.
taunted that woman mentally.
And she
Many
and she
men would do
took
that.
it.
She
You know,
took
it's like,
it.
and she took
And she
it.
was quiet before the
You know,
community.
right,
Mhm.
right. She took it.
She
Again,
wanted
that
to keep
mask,
that face.
that
That
mask
mask.
is there again.
Perfect
You know, and
family.
most of the women have that mask.
Yes.
And they're internalizing all of this.
That's right.
But then they internalize
Well, it
it
ties
and they have
into-
children.
Yeah, I saw
The
this
children
as well.
are seeing this too. That's
Yes,
another
Oh,
impacting,
generation.
yeah.
well,
that's
see,
another
here you go.
generation.
Here
And then
you go.
that's why we
Right.
want to know
That's
why
what
our
it's
kids
about.
are messed
Think
up.
about
It's
it.
because
Yeah,
what they
right.
have seen in the
What they have
household.
seen. Do you know he scarred those children?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the rest of
Right.
their
Yeah.
lives.
And
That's
they
right.
might
Kids are
turn out
messed
the
up,
same
like-
if it's
They
a boy
might.
or a girl. It
Yeah.
could turn out the same
Two
way.
girls.
Yeah.
One was disabled. The other one,
Yeah.
they saw
So
it.
that's why it's important, like
Yeah.
what we're doing now, talking about this,
Yeah.
that we have to keep the conversation
on-
going.
Yeah, it's
Staying in our
important.
Give us a
community.
call
Yeah.
if you're experiencing anything.
Well,
Give
see,
us a call.
what amazes
Wow.
me when you go to certain institutions and they
Yeah.
don't want to talk about it.
That's right.
Right.
That gives me a high sign, a flag to say, okay, what's going on here?
The
Because
head,
yeah,
somebody in the organization is doing it. And
Yes.
they're telling them to be quiet. Or the woman, she may be receiving that same threat within her own home.
yeah,
But she's like, we don't need that here.
Right.
yeah.
We-
Well,
we're
what
good.
we're gonna
Taboo conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. We're going to take a break because we're going to come back. We're going to regroup and finish this conversation because we're talking about domestic violence. We're talking about a highlighted story that just took place a little over a week ago and that dealt with a woman. This is where we're speaking on it because it recently happened. Not that it's not happening, it's happening all the time, every day.
At this
That's
moment.
right.
At this moment, possibly every
hour.
yes, and the numbers are growing, and we must deal with that. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and continue our conversation on domestic violence.
Wow. Wow. That's good. What are your Facebook group saying? People saying?
Hello, my name is Keisha Martin Burney with the Martin Burney Group at RE/MAX Realty Center in Albany, Maryland. We have been licensed for over 17 years in the DMV. Whether you're looking to purchase, sell, or invest in a home, we have an excellent team of realtors who can assist you with all of your real estate needs. You can contact us at themartinburneygroup.com. On social media, Facebook and Instagram, themartinburneygroup.com. You can also give us a call at 240-398-0173. Once again, 240-398-0173. And remember, everything that we touch turns to sold.
Always sisters, always friends. Let's stay real close till the end. Forgiving each other, letting love cover. Always sisters, always friends.
I want Dante to put the book up again because we want to speak on
Let's
this.
talk about
we'll
my
talk
young
about
girl.
the-
Whoa,
Yeah.
look at him. You know,
Thank
Pink
you.
is my
A 30-day
color. Look at
journal
her.
To overcoming personal challenges to achieve professional success.
That's right.
Yes, Jennifer J. Bryan is
Jennifer
available
is in the
now.
house.
In the house. In the house. No. Look what I done.
Look what the Lord has done. Girl, go on
Tell
now.
us what's
God,
going
I
on. What's up
appreciate
with
your
this book?
love and support.
Yeah.
So this 30-day journal is not your typical journal.
No.
It's uniquely crafted. So you're not getting a blank sheet of paper. So what you're getting is I talk about my story. So I start off with a poem titled Real Pain.
Okay.
And it was written during a time in my life in which I didn't know how I was going to get over this hump. And then I go into my story. I go through a couple of chapters of my story. I don't tell everything, but at a high level, I talk about how my father died a accidental construction accident where a one-ton pipe crushed his body, and my mom had to go identify him, and how so much in love she was with him. And then I go through, at the age of 17, she threw bullets at my door. While my door was shut, she threw bullets at my door and said if I tried to poison her again, she would kill me. And that changed my life forever. She had a severe case of bipolar and schizophrenia.
Okay.
And you never knew that growing up
It didn't hit her
until after your father passed
until,
away.
no, it was 12 years later when she remarried a great man. But I don't know if it triggered something inside of her.
Come on,
She
somebody.
suppressed it all that time. And so I didn't know what to do with that. What do you do with that, a senior in high school? What do you do with that?
I don't know what you do. That is powerful. Like,
And so what I did, I immediately left the situation and said, I have to care for her. I have to care from her from a distance because I was fearful for my life and her life too.
Wow.
And so I went to go live with my neighbors, who I looked at as a father figure, but no one told me that that was a bad situation. And so then the sexual assault attempt was there. And then I called one of my aunts in tears, and she came and got me. Now, understand, I had my only sibling as well, and he was incarcerated. So I didn't know how to handle any of this. And I talk about in my book that no one gives you a compass or a navigation or a blueprint on how to navigate.
Right.
You just, you fumble, you fall, and
through experience.
through experience. And that's how I grew to talk to people. I couldn't be shy and I couldn't handle this on my own. I had to learn. I wrote letters to my local congressional representatives because someone told me. And at that point, I was able to stand before a judge and state the reason why I thought my mom should get seen. And I talk about that in my book because that was a hurtful thing, but it was the best thing for her. Because when they pick you up involuntarily, right? You witnessed the sheriff, I had to witness the sheriff turning her around, putting cuffs on her and locking her up and putting her in a car. And I thought I was the worst child in the world.
Right.
But I knew I had to care for her. And so in those gaps of time that I was telling you, of gaps of not having a male there, yes, I had my stepdad, loved him dearly, but to actually be there to answer certain questions for me, because old school, they
didn't talk.
Right. They didn't talk about it, no.
So I needed somebody who was in my life to be able to do that. So what do? I turn to that next charming guy, that handsome guy.
Oh, here we go.
Who decides to take me to the prom after 2 weeks of talking. He loved me. He adored me. I was booed up. I was booed up. I was like, I'm about to go to this prom with this fine man. He was a light-skinned brother. Then light-skinned in the 80s.
In the 80s. Come on here.
Yeah. But shortly thereafter,
Shalimar.
right? And then shortly a mess. Wow, you are a mess. And then shortly thereafter, he was abusive.
Wow! After all of that.
After all of that, he was abusive. And it wasn't until the aha moment came when the EMT was standing over me.
Oh, wow.
So I talk about that in my book.
Wow.
I talk about that in my book. And so I go through those, and then I also talk about even after leaving that situation, trying to escape, because this man used to wait for me in the woods. In the woods. Do you hear me?
No, I hear you.
He was stalking.
Oh my goodness.
He knew my patterns.
Wait a minute, how old was he?
He was about a year or two older than I was.
So he's in the 1820s?
Yes.
That's sick.
Yes.
Already.
At that point.
At that point of life.
Wow.
At that point in life. And so I left. So I got out of that situation, and I always tell people it was an unconventional way because I had some good guy friends who were like my brothers.
Did they wait for him in the woods?
They waited for him in the woods.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
You gonna wait in the
Most
woods?
of them may need a good beating.
That's
Somebody
most of them
to
need
them
it.
on
He got it.
and get them and shake them and look, dude, come on here.
He got it.
And you got to, I know. We're going to take a moment and give out the number to anyone who definitely, we can't take for granted you already have the number. The hotline number is 800-799-7233. 800-799-7233. There are many organizations out there that you can go to, ladies, men, if you're in a situation, because this is a time now that it isn't about life and death. And you can't take it for granted that, he loves me.
Right.
He's not going to do it again because he's the one who's taking care of me, and I really want to be here for the children.
Oh,
Right.
no.
All these
I've
different
been there.
excuses and reasons, and you see what ends up
Run.
with children.
Correct.
You mess up your
Left
children.
without a mom and a dad.
Right.
That's
my
right.
God.
And left for
That's
someone
terrible.
to raise them that they don't even know, and now here they going through some mental issues. I wanted them just all over because this really amazes me, this conversation. Anyways, I would like to find out, you all can answer, how did the Honorable Angela Ossobrook talk about yesterday?
She didn't talk about domestic violence.
No, I think she.
I'm sorry.
So she talked about.
Were you there?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were there. She just.
Stand on that side.
She just basically telling you, thank you for electing her, and she looks forward to dealing with some of the issues of the community and education, community development, and also I think it was community development and also the mental illness. So she did, say what she was going to do, and of course, I mean, she didn't go into details or particulars, but again, we thanked her for her time because she wasn't supposed to be out. So we get to hear more about what she's going to do, and we hope to see her out in the community.
Oh, we will.
Yes.
She's committed to do
I
that.
think she is. I do think she is.
Well, she definitely wanted to make something happen anyway in her position because she's very much committed to making some changes and doing some things in the Prince George's community, of course, to make some things different there because it was happening. This is like what the #1 community
for domestic violence, really?
Yeah.
PG?
Yeah.
George's
Oh,
County?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
Did
yeah.
not know that.
Oh yeah. And in
It's a
addition,
lot of stress in this community then.
well, it's a lot going on.
Lot
In
going
addition
on.
to being the most richest, supposedly.
Well, that comes
Black.
with the
Pretentious.
stress.
We got people walking around pretentious,
Yeah.
living this life that ain't real.
It ain't
And
real.
so that brings
More
on
money,
stress.
what they
That
say,
brings
more
on
money,
stress.
more problems.
Yeah.
Keep
That-
up the
Yes.
facade.
Yeah.
And that brings on
Absolutely.
domestic violence.
That brings on all of that
Yeah.
stress, the
Right.
mental, the physical, the all the that the verbal as well that it comes with that. And you got to, you know, and it was interesting that one of the politicians did not make it because we talked about he had, what was your boy politically?
Oh yes, we won't call his name.
No, we won't call names.
But we will say that that was something that was hid, and me working in public affairs, public relations, you can easily clean that up to get that person pushed through. But I was so excited that you did not win. I really was, because we know the truth. So yes,
Wow.
And then
that's what I'll say.
and you have to there is whether you hide behind these
Oh, sorry.
situations, and then
Yeah.
you try to put on this facade for the public.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That all is well and all is not well, or what did I did is in the past. It's gone. No, it's still there.
It's still
It's
there.
still there.
Yeah.
Just like when we
Sitting on
look
your
at your
shoulder.
other young man that we elected to our highest court. Did you? If you watched the picture of his wife, I sent an inbox to you about the young. Yes,
Yeah.
She
and if
wasn't
you
allowed to
watched
speak.
his,
It looks like she wasn't allowed to speak.
Did you see her?
Absolutely.
Did you see her when he
Absolutely.
took her
Body language
arm
of her
and
that
said and dropped her arms like just move off of me? Like this
Wow.
was on Fox. Like this is on Fox where he was being sworn in and everything, but he kind of hugged her and then he like shoved her arm off and went to. It was on live TV.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that these women were telling the truth, it's like just so subtle.
Right.
Imitation.
So
So you,
all you have to do
Watch
is watch
those
them.
red
Just watch
flags.
them.
Yeah, well,
That
you have to
goes
put
back
on
to
that
the judge
facade.
thing, because I said that's
Yeah.
who it reminded me of when you were talking about the judge.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes,
it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got friends. They're like, no, Charlene, that he's just the nicest little
No.
Christian man. And I'm
No.
like,
In front. Yeah.
no.
In
In
front
front, that's
of
what
the
they
camera.
do.
Yeah, well, that's because they have to see. All of this is again, we're talking about who are we out front and who we're trying to impress.
Correct.
Yeah.
In
Right.
doing all of this, and it's just like we got to be mindful. We have to be on our, they say P's and Q's about who we're dealing with, who's preaching to us, who's talking to us,
Do your
who's
research.
representing us.
Thank you.
And you got to do that.
You
Gotta
better
do
do
your
your
research.
research.
Exactly.
That's it.
You
Exactly.
must do that.
Yeah.
So we definitely impressed about the things that you're doing, Jennifer.
Thank
because
you.
you've been going out, yeah, I mean, really, you got author. You're talking about the issues, and you're using your life
Yes.
example.
Example,
as
exactly.
what
Right.
you've gone through, and if others can relate, because you're letting everyone know that you're out there. So we
And
have
being,
a
and
lot.
being transparent at that.
Oh, yeah,
you
you
know,
Oh
This
my
is very
God, I'm
transparent.
being very transparent. And like I
Yeah.
said with the 30-day journal, just really quickly, that for 30 days, each day, I give you a theme, a mantra, a positive affirmation, and I follow with a coaching prompt, a question. So the
Okay.
journal is interactive, which will cause you to think.
Start thinking, yeah.
Start thinking, because this is about transforming your life so you can live it victoriously and successfully. So I give people the tools that I use on a daily basis.
That's
Absolutely.
good
Beautiful,
too. That's great too.
beautiful.
We're going to take another break because
Yeah.
we got one more break, and then we're going to clear it up, and we'll be done for today. But when we come back, we must talk about the NFL part, because as you know,
Oh,
another
yes,
NFL
yeah.
was back in the news again,
Yeah.
Right.
in
Really?
reference to the
Yes.
same situation. And they said during this time of year, it's like the most critical time of
Holidays
year.
bring
And
about
well, the holiday, but not even the holiday. I'm talking about the sports arena.
Oh,
The
yeah.
season.
That's
The
the
season.
What's
yeah.
happening?
the
Did they not get a
season.
check or something? Did they not get a check? I'm sorry. Maybe that's
There's
might
a
be
lot of things that happen even there in we speak to that. So we're going to address that and how that break that down. It's the reason why that's another area that affects this topic as well. So we're going to take this break, and we're going to come right back and talk about it. It was happening on the NFL side. We'll be right back. I'm Wyoming Paris, and I represent domestic violence.
Hi, I'm Linda Powell, and I represent health and wellness.
Hi, I'm Peggy Morris, and I represent entrepreneurship.
Hi, I'm Charlene Day, and I represent education.
And we are
Four Sisters Live. And we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary, and we're so happy that you continue to support us and watch us as we bring you the best of the best with our guests and in entertainment.
Continue to watch us every Saturday, 12:30 to 2:30 on
Voxwave.com.
We love you, and please continue to follow us on social media.
It's that time of year again, the second annual toy drive, your chance to give back to the community by helping a child have a happy holiday. Stop by Voxwave Studios, 4711 Auth Place, Suitland, Maryland, and donate all your unwrapped toys no later than December 20th. It's our second annual toy drive, sponsored by Urban Style Media, Voxwave.com, and Star Imports, the home of the boutique car buying experience. So enjoy your holidays and give back to the kids of the DMV.
We're back.
Right.
We want to quickly make an announcement about what's happening here at Voxwave and Star Imports. There will be a live remote toy drive here next week with Black Girls Rock. So we want you all to come out, bring your toys. Make sure you do that. Stop by and just drop off your toys. We have the box already prepared. It's in the lobby. And please help our children, our families in need for the holiday, that they need toys, as well as coat drive. We have Keisha Martin Bernie. We have Moshe. Moshe has his.
Moshe.
You know, in-house
Oh, my
musician.
God.
Yeah,
Lots of Moshe.
Yeah, Moshe has his coat drive. So we're going to support those who support us, and we're going to bring our coats here. So don't have a coat that you don't need any longer, please bring a drive and do a favor to our families. What were you going to say? Talk about the...
There's a collaboration with Urban Style Media, who is our sister friend, Karen McConnell Jones, and Voxwave. They're going to collaborate for the second annual toy drive. You can drop the unwrapped toys at this location, 4711 Auth Place. Up through December the 20th. That's the deadline. Okay.
Oh, you know, you forgot to tell them. December the 16th, Sisters for Sisters Network is having an open house. If you don't know who they are and what they do for this community, Women Connecting, helping women to connect, that's on December the 16th. So come check us out.
Address?
4640 Forbes Boulevard in the lovely Upper Marlboro. Is that the right?
No, that's Lanham,
Maryland.
Okay,
Lanham.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, I want you all to know
Who's in the house?
Who's in the house?
Get in the camera, beautiful.
This is my lovely son, Reggie Ray.
Her daughter-in-law.
And my sweetie pie, Letitia, Dawn Hill. Yes. He stopped by to see he mommy.
And his aunties.
And his aunties.
Right?
Yes. He is on.
I love your mama.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
We love her. Yes, my son is on his way back to LA.
All right.
So he stopped by to see his mommy before he leaves.
You can take us back with
awesome.
you with baby face.
Bring our weather back.
That's right. I'm ready for the
Yeah,
weather.
he's an awesome musician. He's an awesome, musician out there in LA doing great things.
Yes.
LA Babyface, hashtag Kenny Babyface Edmonds.
Yeah.
Drummer.
Into existence.
Yeah, well, he is.
No, he
He
is.
already is.
Okay.
So he got to go back to work. Yes.
Don't rub it in, Linda. Don't rub it in.
Saw him in action.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know what they say, a man that treats his mom the best treats his wife the best.
Yes.
Duke Ellington.
Yeah.
Full cellular.
Okay, y'all, let's this way.
Yeah. You got Dante?
Yeah.
So we're just taking a family moment here just to say, I love my son. The word for the day is love. Angels surround him as he takes the friendly skies. Go back to LA. Thank you, son, for stopping by to see your mommy. You know, I was a little worried. I'm like, okay, it's time to do.
Y'all need to go across the street and eat or something.
Yeah, we
Bring some bread.
So we're going to take
Only
some
the
pictures.
bread.
But hey, we've enjoyed our time today here talking about this subject matter. Dealing with the domestic violence. We're going to continue this every first Saturday.
How do we turn
let's talk about how to reach you.
I can be reached on www.reachingwithinempowerment.com.
Say it again.
www.reachingwithinempowerment.com, and you go /books to go ahead and pre-order your journal with me. Phone number, I can be reached at 301-535-0358. Y'all know that number very well.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, guys.
Bye, guys. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Which way we going?
We're going this way.
Bye, guys.